Hey, it's Who here, and I'm going to say something today. Today I'm going to talk about Cinewhoop rates and how they apply to my flying and potentially your flying. First off, Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone. As stated, or rather requested from my buddy, Properly Duct, I'm going to try to attempt to do a weekly video talking about whatever it is who wants to say. So, happy holidays. Got some cool toys today. Got some cool little electric drill sets. Super stoked on this little bad boy, helping me save some time when I'm deconstructing and rebuilding these nice little test subjects I'm doing. We got one here, wands. Actually, this isn't wands, this is the Bunker 98. Really neat. The idea here, open prop, letting a little bit more airflow through here while still protecting the propellers from hitting anyone or anything. Cool little TPU bumpers at the front. I would highly suggest checking out Bunker 98. Little heavy, a little awkward to set up, but she flies nice with a full-size GoPro. Actually, you have to take out the battery to try to save some weight and power it through the FC. Another story, another day. What else do I got working on here? Give me 1 second. Cool. So, this is Juan's bunker, and this has been about a month of trying to figure out the proper setup for this. I have borrowed a lot of their setups from the website direct. It's just not flying that well, and I don't know if it's has to do with these inverted props, inverted motors, or what exactly, but she's a work in progress is how I describe it. Anyway, let's go on to rates, what we came here to talk about today. It's pretty straightforward. Rates are something you acquire, something you have to learn. You have to play with high rates, figure out what Mr. Steele's doing. You got to go down to low rates, figure out maybe a little bit Drew's been doing lately. I shouldn't have mentioned that name. That's another story, another day. We'll make another vlog about that next week. In the meantime, rates is something that you need to play around with. You need to be comfortable with knowing your full stick deflection, where it's going to go, how's it going to go, how does your quad respond to your stick inputs. This is what rates will do for you. I tend to fly my Cinewhoop specifically around the 600 to 750 range. I do this simply so that I can have room for error. If there's something I need to get out of a quick, tricky situation, I can do so by full deflection and getting out of there, recovering, saving the day, hopefully not crashing, and continuing on to shooting. Now, I do that, but I add extra expo so that the center of the sticks is juicy. I want the center of the sticks to be able to have a little bit of give without instant input. So I add that expo to about 0.3, which kind of gives me a little bit of wiggle room in the middle and allows me to keep that small micro adjustments very unnoticeable in the shooting. Now those medium rates though, the reason I don't go low is simply just as I said before, I want to be able to have the option to escape if I need to. So again, I'm finding that 600, 750 is really nice for what I'm doing, the way I fly, and what I'm comfortable with. I wouldn't have learned any of this without racing a little bit, without setting these up in my freestyle quads and seeing what low rates do, how do they respond, how do I like them, how do I like the way they're controlled. What about fast rates, which from the get-go was never really my style. Ever since I built my first 5-inch about 4 years ago, it was completely uncontrollable. Maybe it's because I'm a thumbs pilot. I just never really liked anything above 800 in my rates, and that's just a personal preference. There are some guys who can argue that 1200 is the way to go. And now, I mean, rates don't transfer all the way across. On a tiny whoop, I will be running 1,000+ rates because you want to have that quick instant response time no matter what you're doing with the tiny whoop. Now, as I get bigger, the quads get bigger in size, bigger in propeller size, I tend to start dropping the rates little by little just to kind of adjust for it, keep it flowy, keep it fun. This is all just very obvious things out there for any pilots who've been doing this for a long time, but for anyone getting into the game, rates are very important in terms of how your flight's gonna basically mimic your flight, help your flight path. Again, so if you have those faster rates, you're likely going to see a lot more adjustments. If you see those lower rates, you probably won't see many adjustments, but it'll probably be a little difficult to control, especially in tricky situations. So that's why I end up in the medium zone right there. Which tends to be a lot of things for what I do. I like to end up right in the middle sometimes. I don't really pick sides, so to say, or go too extreme to one side, but I'm always like right there in the middle. And that's something you'll learn as you get to know me. Continuing on that aspect, rates is just one aspect of it. I'm trying to break this down in terms of like how I think about how I plan out builds, and how when I'm on to the next build, what I'm thinking about putting together, and how I'm going to apply those rates to that certain build. Again, my rates are pretty much size dependent. The smaller, the higher; the bigger, the lower on rates. The bigger the quad, the lower on rates; the smaller the quad, higher on rates. And play around with them. This is a chance for you to experiment with them. If you're new to this, if you know where you're at, and you've been flying different rates than what I'm suggesting, maybe try mine out. Let me know in the comments what you think about your rates, what you're using. If you have anything you can add on, because I've only been doing this for 4 years. I don't claim to know everything about everything in FPV, but I have acquired quite a bit of information along the way. But I'm always open to a discussion, any kind of insight you might have to add to my discussion. Because at the end of the day, this is a two-way street. We exchange information, we learn new things from each other, and that's what I'm hoping this channel can bring to you and bring to the community, especially in this little tricky time we're at right now. But that's another story for another day. We'll talk then. Thank you all. See you all again next week.